You know, when Dr. MOCKMOOD said that they were going to shrink my world, I decided that they took over my name through 612-385-4522, where Michael Cooper Sr. said he had to keep an eye on me. At that time, he was fighting for disability and trying to end his child support with Minneapolis District Number 1. He was seeking disability because he had just had a surgery, right? Myasthenia gravis that stopped him from driving a bus because they cut him from his neck down to like the navel or something. And with that being said, he wasn't paying his child support and he was fighting for disability, right? And so since he was fighting for disability and he wasn't working, I agree that he didn't have to pay his child support, you know, being a loving girlfriend. Whether I was number one, number two, number three, I wasn't going to harm him, right? So then as we're, you know, doing that, and what was I talking about? Because I'm on the phone with the welfare department. And I thought, oh, yeah, okay. So as he's working for District Number 1, and he got me to get this cell phone because he needed to keep tabs on me, under 612-385-4522, he got it out of Boost. Boost was over there near Access, you know, where Hackenmuller's used to be, but it was adjacent to the parking lot where Cretia and Libby had the incident with the foreigners. That was one of them political issues too, where the parking lot, it was really weird how the businesses was divided, because it was like a hardware store, a Family Dollar, and then something else within this strip mall where they had now made you pay for the parking. So like Family Dollar had 5 or 6 parking, the hardware store had 5 or 6 parking spaces, and then Dollar General had so many spaces, and then the rest were up for debate, right? But in the meantime, if you parked in the wrong spot, they were really watching you. So like Cretia parked in the spot and went to the Mexican, Hispanic, Latino business to buy a dress or some shit. And as she parked in the wrong spot, because it wasn't for the Latino business, Hispanic, Mexican, they was getting ready to tag her car. They had booted that motherfucker. And she didn't speak the language. She had to call Libby. Anyway, the Boost that was across the street from that, that's where Michael took me to get my cell phone. I had a cell phone for a little while and then I ended it. But I thought that's how Michael Cooper Sr., Michael Favors, Kim Ellison tried to act like under a non-traditional marriage. Me and Michael Cooper Sr. were married. At one point, I thought the motherfucker was watching me through the phone and was acting like, you know, as soon as she comes to her senses, she's going to come back and be with me. But I didn't want to be with Michael Cooper Sr., right? Really, I was done with that situation. So I really tried to put that scary thought out of my head because I was eerie. But then it made sense to me because when I thought about Summit, Dr. MOCKMOOD, talk about they were going to shrink my world, and then the things that was going on in my life, I just thought that was Summit Academy, where they now had this illegal, you know, phone line, and they were now monitoring my calls through Michael Cooper Sr., where Keith Ellison said Sharon's crazy, and until Sharon comes to her senses, they were going to have to treat me the way they do, you know, exclude me from this, exclude me from that. And I thought that my son was always trying to be in jail and give me and my ex a reason to talk, like it's about the kids, but I don't want to talk to him. The fuck? The fuck? So then when I thought that they were violating my rights with the phone line, and they were saying, well, bitch, your phone ain't getting nowhere, because I get the same routing, which I thought was under 311-211 Barb Johnson, where Barb Johnson, Bobby Joe Champion, working with Michael Cooper Sr., where they said that, you know, Sharon's going to come back. She going to always be with you. Don't worry about that. And I didn't go back. I didn't want to be with him. I didn't want to go sow my wild oats. With that being said, I said through Summit Academy, they had started handing out phone lines and stuff, and then set up this group of people that Bobby Joe Champion was paying to monitor me, everything I say and do, my calls, my phone line. And I wasn't really getting outside that circle of people, which I thought had violated my rights, you know, because, again, I'm not conforming. And then they tried to call me gay based on my sexuality. And then I thought they had all these gay people soliciting me, and I was getting real mad about that. I thought if you got Tim Walz's executive order, you could see how they said, well, Sharon, you're an experiment. And I thought, I'm an experiment? The fuck? And then I thought about Amy Jane Getz being Michael Cooper Sr.'s attorney, where Bobby Joe Champion, Keith Ellison, ain't that shit deep? This shit gets to be like a motherfucking soap opera reality TV show, and it drives me crazy. But then when I don't get, like right now, I've been on this call for like 2 hours, and earlier, if you watched my video, you heard a bitch talk about motherfucking digging in the garbage and shit, and then she want to get mad at me and not process my medical, right? Where again, I thought I was afforded through the government. Did you hear me talk about my kids? When I worked at Rainbow and I paid a premium for them to have insurance. And then when I worked at Express Scripts, I paid a premium. I paid it to the state of Minnesota because when they kicked me off medical and food stamps because they said, Sharon, you make enough money, that was when they assigned me a premium, right? Because it was more affordable for me to get insurance through my health care through the state for my kids versus my job, right? Because you got bills to pay when they, budget your money, right? With the gross income, they're expecting to get your taxes back. A lot of times I didn't get my taxes back. I didn't get my rent rebate back, right? The fuck? I'll be irritated. I've been at home for like an hour. This makes no fucking sense. But again, in Bobby's world, any abuse under what I said was identity theft through Amy Klobuchar, motherfucking Ilhan Omar, Nancy Pelosi, using Washington with the body politic at that time, which I thought was Donald Trump. It'd be fucking me up. Thus stealing the vote. Did you ever hear me talk about when my son in 2014 turned 18? And I was a real proud mom because he was going to go with me to the voting booth and make me a proud mom and vote. And because I just got into the voting booth, I didn't really care who he voted for. And yeah, he could have swayed the election with his one vote. But you figured the odds of that, right? Anyways, they didn't let him vote. They really put up a ruckus. He had identification. He was registered. They said, you need a piece of mail. I said, how come when I voted downtown and I just showed my ID, and I thought when I went and I registered, pre-registered, are you registered to vote? And they'd be like, no. And then you get registered to vote, your address, name, and stuff. So I use 3625 Oliver, right, for my kids, because we had just been put out in 2014. It said under the law if you were still living in this address within so many months. So then with that system, I had been at that address for a year, so I had legal rights to vote from that address, and then change it going forward, which they never let me really do. I said one time I was coming from the Minnetonka courthouse, I had a real tumultuous day that day. I mean, it was hectic. It was one of them days where I walked in and the sheriff was like, hi, Miss Martin. And I looked at him like, hold up, Marcus, I don't recognize you. He's like, what? I'm like, cute people I recognize, mean people I recognize, people I done got into it with I don't recognize, and I don't recognize you, so why do you know my name? He's like, excuse me. I'm like, what did you say? He said, Miss Martin. I said, see, you know my name. What, did you have a meeting before I got here? Did you have a fucking meeting with my picture on it? I was really insulted at that point because I called that stalking. The police department having a meeting on me before I got to the Minnetonka courthouse, fighting one of many bogus tickets, being me. And they be mad when I beat them, like I said. They can't handle that. Why? Well, because I didn't go through their law school. I don't know if Shayla could have, fought the law or not. My son didn't really seem interested in it, It takes some shit. But I'm just saying, my son didn't seem interested, and my daughter didn't seem interested in it. Me? Actually just comes natural. And I suppress it too. Suing people, representing people, because number one, I can't represent you. Like I was telling people the other day, I'd represent my son if I could, let me say that. Because I think, but because I don't know the law and I'm not licensed and barred, and I think they beat me on technicalities with form filing. Like one judge said I had to present the motion this way, so I had to go back and fix my motion. He still denied me. And in the next court we were in, I can't remember what we were for, and he was like, Sharon, you presented the motion right, you filed it right, you did everything you were supposed to do then, but I needed you to set a court date to say it to me in person. Like, what? He was like, you were supposed to call and set a court date. I'm like, well, why didn't y'all do that? He said, that's your job as an attorney, and it's your job as an attorney to know that, and you should read the bio of the judicial official about how they run their courtroom. And I was like, ain't that a bitch? What do you mean read the bio? Like, where's that at? They were like under the 4th Judicial Court. So then you got to the judge picture. And then when you seen the judge picture, and then you got to read some shit. But it didn't say, that when you file a motion through electronic filing that you now got to come and make a court date to present that. It didn't say that. So then I tried to challenge him on that. And then as I challenged him on that, I think they just, I won that case. I can't remember what happened. It'd be interesting to know.